Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to talk about this movie that I had watched called War Dogs. And I'll tell you when you can click out if you don't want to hear about the story. But it does relate to narcissism. And if you're kind of curious about what exactly is an narcissist like looking from the outside in, because a lot of us are caught up in our own relationships with somebody, and you will see so many red flags, so many comments throughout this movie. And it's a true story, based on a true story. It's called War Dogs, and it is very, very interesting. There's a lot of twists and turns in it, so I'm gonna let you guys tune out, check another video if you don't want to hear the story, but it's kind of interesting. So here I go, guys. Click out. All right, so there's this character Ephraim in the movie, and like I said, it is based on a true story. There's lots of twists and turns. So Ephraim is the narcissist. You will see it clear as day. In the beginning, he's a Jewish character, and they go to a funeral, and he meets up with a best buddy from days in the past when they were young. Mom didn't want him to hang out with Ephraim. Just basically, she saw he was a bad influence. They used to get in trouble together. They got arrested together. So Ephraim comes back in town for this funeral, and the friend, I wish I could remember his name. It'll come to me. We'll call him friend for now. So the friend is talking to Ephraim like, wow, I'm so sorry about this person dying. He's like, I didn't care. I just came to see you. So there's twists and turns through it. The friend is, pretty much a good guy, has a couple little quirks, does lie, hide a couple things here and there, but he is more on the up and up, tries to do the right thing, just like us. We're not always perfect, but we have a good heart. He kind of want to do things the right way. But Ephraim has this business opportunity. So Ephraim goes to buy some drugs, and he gets to where these people just pocket the money, $300. And he's like, I'm not messing around. So he pulls out, what was it, AK-47, where I start shooting, walks away from the money, but he was like, yeah, I'm in control about this. So they take off, and there's government contracts that they're trying to get to make a ton of money. And the friend was struggling. He was a massage therapist, and then he had this great business idea to sell sheets to nursing homes, like these Egyptian cotton, 400 thread count. Thought he'd make a ton of money. And then he's like, I realized people really don't care about old people. So like I said, he's trying to think about a good, kind-hearted type business. Of course, people care about old people. Then he sees what the real world's like. So the friend has this opportunity, brings him on board, and they're doing drugs. They're kind of doing a little bit of shady stuff, but they find these contracts, and Ephraim's building this relationship with the friend. They had one from the past, but Ephraim's getting him to do things kind of outside his comfort level. There's one part in the story where the friend's trying to handle it. The sales going bad, and so this guy gets on the phone just like a narcissist and thinks he's going to handle the situation. So all of a sudden now he's Christian. They'll say whatever it is. He was definitely Jewish in the movie, but he knew that the person on the other line was Christian. So try to relate to him, say whatever it takes. And he starts pulling out the wife is sick, or they're poor, and the son, I can't remember if it was cancer or sick, terminal illness, but the kid needed medical attention. And he's like, please just don't take away this contract. But he's using all these narcissistic tools. And it is good for you guys to watch this if you're interested in this kind of movie, because it'll let you see like, whoa, these are red flags, how you can relate it to your own life. And as the movie progresses, they're getting these contracts, they're lies, and he's causing the friend to start to lie a little bit more to the wife. The wife is like us, where she's like, you promise there's no secrets between us. And so he's lying, because this is what a narcissist often does. And some of us have narcissistic traits. It's a survival technique. But in one part of the movie, she said, you're basically quit putting your lies on me, like you're doing that for my sake. for my best interest, because all she wanted was the truth. And in her eyes, the best interest is how are we going to handle the situation if we don't know what it is. So, you know, he ends up going out of the country, and there's all this shady stuff going on. And then they that was kind of a long movie, but there was this contract where they had to lie about it was dealing with the Chinese government. Oh, this is one thing. There was one guy that they met up with who says, I got this deal. I can get you all these bullets or whatever it was at this rate. And Ephraim is like, can I ask you, like, why don't you just bid on that contract yourself? And the guy had said, well, in all honesty, because I'm a US terrorist, I'm on the watch list. And so Efren didn't care, you know, he could get the stuff at a discount and sell it for millions of dollar profit. And the friend is like, dude, like, he's a US terrorist. And he didn't want to do that because, you know, basically they're funding somebody who could attack the US. And Ephraim's like, what are you, Border Patrol? Kind of like, what's the big deal? He's going to get us what we need. And that's the narcissistic thinking. Like, they don't think beyond what they're going to gain. They don't think about the safety of the country, what they're really getting into. So they end up doing it. The narcissist often will get us to do certain things. They had a guy who owned a laundromat. They tricked him into funding their operation. And they had called it, what is it, AEY, something like that. And this, they ended up getting big, and they somewhat big, and they needed more people to work. So this one worker had just asked the question, what does AEY stand for? And Ephraim got ticked off. And he's like, what? And the guy said, well, what does it stand for? Like IBM, you know, like IBM. And Ephraim's like, IBM doesn't stand for anything. And he's like, International Business Machines. So Ephraim gets ticked off because he's kind of feeling stupid or whatever. So he fires the guy. So narcissists don't like to be corrected. Like, he fired the guy. The guy just asked a question, like, okay, like, do I have to lose my job? Can't you just say it doesn't stand for anything? But that ego was shattered. So that guy lost his job. You're just done. Get out of here. No tolerance for it. That's why sometimes when we feel like, what is this discard over? What happened in our relationship? Just so that guy is probably like, I was just curious. I was just asking what the business name stands for. And he lost his job, you know? So the laundromat guy, is funding this, and they're lying to him. They're not giving him the full amount that they promised. So he's happy with it. They got a check for, what was it, $15,000. So he's like, cool. And it keeps building up. Now he's getting like $3 million. It should have been $8 million. So they're just scamming him, not giving him the deal. So the friend wants a contract. So it's a 30-70 split. Ephraim gets 70%, but some of the times they go on these trips together. He had promised the wife that he's not going out of the country. Then he ends up going out of the country, the friend's wife. And it's kind of starting to destroy their relationship. So when you deal with a narcissist, it trickles down into relationships, whether, you know, it's a friend on friend and it damages your marriage, or you know, if it's husband, wife, or whatever your dynamics are, it can be, you know, your parents or your siblings or your coworkers. It infiltrates what we start trying to hide, because, you know, we're not shady people, and now we're like, why did I do that? Or how did I get caught up in this? So it destroys relationships. So some of you are like, you know, do I stick around with this narcissist? Just remember, you're going to start to pick up narcissistic traits just like that friend did. And you're going to struggle with that too. You know, like, I'm a good person. Why am I doing this? But yeah, I see that, like, we're making millions of dollars. So it is tempting. Sometimes you just set it aside, just like the narcissist. Sometimes they set things aside. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm just going to continue on. So, it starts going bad. I'm not going to go through the whole movie, but it starts going bad. And Ephraim didn't like the fact that the friend had said, we can't, there was a middleman, that guy who was a terrorist. And they said, we can't get rid of this guy because he was selling, what was it, 4.5 cents, and they were doing 1.5 or 2 cents, but he was making a bigger profit off of the sale of these bullets. But the friend was like, like, just let it go, just let it go. Like, we're making money, don't ruin this. He's making money, but we agreed to it and we're doing it. Don't do that to him. So Ephraim starts getting a little attitude. Yeah, you're right, I was wrong, and BSing, starting to build resentment and just kind of like appeasing the friend. But he goes and gets the friend's contract that they have, because the friend had it or put it in his desk. Ephraim goes and takes it. Then he's like, somehow something must have gotten said. He ended up talking to the middleman. The middleman gets it to where the friend was overseas in, I believe, Afghanistan. He gets taken in the middle of the night, kidnapped, and punched in the face like crazy. And the middleman's going to shoot him point blank. And luckily at the end, he didn't. Like, this is based on a true story. So he gets beaten, gets kidnapped, almost killed. He's getting a 30-70 cut, 30%. And the shady stuff that Ephraim's doing is starting to increase. Just like the narcissists, they're getting away with more. It's an adrenaline rush to them. So they're screwing over their friends. They're doing shady stuff. They're appeasing people or twisting the stories just so they can get what they want. If they don't get what they want, they get ticked off. You'll see some of the rages, the anger, and every time that the friend tries to say, like, what are we doing? Like, this is crazy. Ephraim comes up with excuses. He talks him into whatever. So then Ephraim gets this little flying monkey at the end, to where, after he got beaten, punched up, he said, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm not doing anything. He's getting ready to leave while these people are packing up all the bullets that they had purchased through the middleman, who gave them Chinese manufactured bullets. And because of the embargo tax or they weren't allowed to import it to the United States. So they had to repack everything to get rid of all the Chinese labeling. And so he's getting ready to leave, and he said, I'll be back in a week. And the one guy said, well, one of the workers said, we haven't been paid yet. He goes, oh, you mean for the month or the week? And he's like, ever. So what was it, $100,000 they're supposed to get by the end of it. I think it's supposed to take 2 months. But they're like, we've never gotten anything. So friend is going back to the United States, has no desire to come back anymore. Finds out that nothing's getting paid. So he gets in like a tiff with Ephraim, and he's like, dude, I had this gun pointed to my head because, you're not paying these people. Somehow, I can't remember exactly how it was, but there was one of the workers was a wife, and she's like, I can't find my husband. My husband never came home. And somehow to this day, they don't know what happened to this guy. He was a character in the story, I can't remember if he was a middleman or something, but people are dying, and the friend just had a brand new baby, doesn't want to leave, misses his wife. And so he goes to tell Ephraim, I'm done. I am done. So he sets his boundaries, and Ephraim doesn't want to let him out of it, and is doing the same thing that those drug dealers did. Kind of like, oh, it took you 300. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So he's talking to a friend who went through all this stuff, going through, being shot at, and through dangerous territory during wartime, to get these bullets to this certain place on time. It's an interesting story. You guys really should watch it if you're into this stuff. So he's laying down the law. Ephraim doesn't want to hear it. And So now he's like, this is what I'm supposed to get. And Ephraim's like, yeah. So the friend's like, look, I thought about this. I just want 40 cents on the dollar. Just 40 cents on the dollar. Like, this guy went through all this stuff. He knows he's about to get screwed over. He doesn't even ask for 50% of his 30, or yeah, because it would have been 30%. And then Ephraim's like, no, when you build a house, if you only half build it, you don't get paid. So he's basically saying, like, you didn't continue on, you're not getting paid. And so friend said, if I don't get my money in a week, I'm going to the attorney. We have a contract. So he goes to get the contract. He's like, the contract's gone. So now he has, he's feeling like he has no proof. So time goes by, and Ephraim, or friend's starting to rebuild his life. Gosh, I wish I could remember his name. Rebuilding his life, and then the laundromat guy comes. No, which one was it? Was it the laundromat guy? Yeah, I believe it was the laundromat guy, came as a middleman and said, look, Ephraim feels bad about this. He'd like to just talk to you. I'm here to mediate it. And so they go to like a diner, and they're kind of talking it out. And Ephraim's like, I was your best friend. And, he's offers him $50,000 a year for 4 years, giving him $200,000. They has to work, for 4 years for $200,000. And he was supposed to get, I can't remember, it was like $4 million or 4 billion, whatever it was. It was like some crazy cash. And that's like a big insult. Work 4 more years for 200,000. When he's already been screwed out of, like, it was 4 million, 4 billion, at least 4 million. And so he's like, screw this is crap. And so he's like, I'm done with this. This is retarded. So he starts saying all this crap, like, you think you got one over on me, Ephraim. There is no, you don't see the contract, but you forgot about, I have pictures of the checks that we gave, photoshopped, and gave faulty checks, I think, to the government or somewhere. And then he was telling the laundry guy, the mediator, like, yeah, we gave you 3,000, it's supposed to be 8,000 or million, whatever it was. And so he's like, I got screwed out of how much money? So he's starting to see, like, whoa, Ephraim's like been lying about all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, we got bullets from the Chinese government. We had to repackage them. We did this, we did all this shady stuff. We're not giving you the money that we promised you. And so if you wonder, does the narcissist get his karma? Do narcissists get their karma? Like, this guy had millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, substantial millions, we'll put it that way. And everything seems like, wow, everything. They bought matching Porsches and beautiful penthouse apartments, and life seems like they're living high on the hog. He's just like some narcissists, not all, but this one is, there was different times throughout the movie. Once he was with a prostitute, another time he was trying to get a blowjob. So he was cocky at a bar. I don't know if it's an actual strip club or kind of like a go-go dance bar, but there's a woman there, like a customer. And he had said, Ephraim, his pickup line was, if I give you $1,000, can we pretend it's our third date? She's like, what exactly does that mean? He's like, well, that way we already know each other. We got dinner out of the way. We did this, we did small talk, whatever he said. And then I get my blowjob. And so the boyfriend or husband overheard it and punched him. But that's how entitled they are. Like, let me just give you $1,000, because she wasn't like a sex worker. She was just a customer. And yeah, I'll just give you $1,000 and want a blowjob, and just treats her like a piece of meat. And then the other one, he was in the middle of a prostitution thing, and the friend said, we got this business dealing we got to deal with now. And he's like, well, I'll be there later, I just got to finish this up. And it got into panic mode with their business stuff. and he just wants to finish doing what he's doing, doesn't have any foresight or even ask, is everything okay? Finally he ends up leaving because it's like a $600 million contract or whatever the numbers are. But things went really south, and that laundromat person, as a mediator, it turns out in the end, had worn a wire, because he started getting ticked off that, why did it, I don't want to say that the wrong way. He started wearing a wire because the people who were packaging the bullets, who never got paid, they had contacted the government, who contacted the laundromat guy. They busted him, contacted him to wear a wire. So as the friend's getting upset, he says, yes, we screwed the US government over, we did this, we did that. Just tells all the shady story. So both of them get arrested. And Ephraim, I was surprised he only got 4 years in prison, 70 counts of federal crimes, 70 counts, 4 years, kind of blew my mind. But most of the crimes, I think, were over out of the country. And the friend, he really was a good-hearted person. He got in the middle of some stuff, wanted to get out, tried to set boundaries, or at least said, hey, is this really the right thing to do? But that narcissist, Ephraim, talked him into doing things. And luckily he had enough of it. Just like some of us, we've had enough of the crazy stuff, and pulls himself out of the situation. If you guys are thinking about leaving your person, just be cautious. It is something to be aware of. When you leave a toxic situation, sometimes that can be the greatest risk of abuse. So just really protect yourself, really know your person. Some people are violent. Some people might indulge in drugs or alcohol, which might affect their thinking or reactions. So just be cautious of that. If you need to contact somebody for help getting you out safely, do it when they're not home. But the friend only got 7 months house arrest, which was kind of nice because he has a daughter, and who's just, I don't know, a couple months old to a year at this time. And within, was it a year and a half, they had like so many like contracts and millions of dollars that they juggled, and they're like in their early 20s, like 22, 23 years old. So their case has been used as a case study. That might be why they got less time. I can't see how that would be a possible justified sentence unless it's because so many of the crimes are outside the United States. But they still had, Ephraim had 70 counts of different federal crimes. 70 counts, 4 years, blows my mind. But the friend who had the kind heart, he did have to go to jail. Or I'm sorry, he did have to have house arrest. So he got some leniency, just like kind-hearted people. Sometimes we feel like, we get crapped on all the time. Sometimes things work out in our favor if we stick to who we are. Sometimes people are like, I get it, I understand, but remorse means something in this world. Narcissists don't have remorse. And so he was probably cocky at the trial, probably tried to slip a couple lies in, wasn't taking accountability. This guy was on the up and up. And, he told the story. He felt remorse. He wanted to get out of it. He did go along with it. He had free will not to. Sometimes when you get all wrapped up in it, when things are going good, our narcissist brought us into this kind of like an evil world, but when things are going good, it doesn't seem evil. Like, oh my gosh, we're doing this, we're doing that. They can bring you down. I don't know what the friend did in the past, but he started doing drugs. He might have already done that, but it seemed like Ephraim was, maybe he was a bad influencer. I believe he was a bad influence on the friend. So they can get you to start to, not take care of yourself, indulge in things that you normally wouldn't do. I don't know if friend would have gone to that type of club, just different environments, and the setups that Ephraim did to him, and that one, how did I describe him? the one who had access, the terrorist, he had said, remember, he's the one who had access to the bullets. So he had said in one thing, because the two guys are like, dude, you just screwed us. You know, we look at one box, all the other boxes are from the China, you know, from China. We can't sell that to the, or ship it to the United States. And he's like, you need to stop saying our problem. It's your problem. And that's kind of also how the narcissist works. When we're trying to talk to them, we're like, you know, we really need to sit and we really need to, and they see it as, this is not my problem. It's just not my problem. And I just wanted you to see kind of the mindset of Ephraim. Some of the words that he says, the way he, you know, just like fired that person at the drop of a hat, the way they have no tolerance for things. And in the end, they're both in the elevator. Like I said, they bought apartments on the same floor at this, you know, next to each other. So they're both end up in the elevator at the same time. The wife's down, the friend told the wife, go wait out in the lobby at the street level and I'll meet up with you in a minute. So they're going down like 52, 53 stories. And so, you know, he's trying to say how sorry he was and, you know, you're my best friend, and pay attention to what the friend says, because he's just like we're going through, like, you were never a real friend. And when Ephraim said, I'm sorry, the friend said, you know, do you ever stop acting? Because he knew it was not a sincere apology. Just like our narcissists, they can say it. They know the timing on when to say it sometimes. But he had screwed that guy over. He showed him how low down he could go. He knew his friend almost took a bullet because he was too adamant about getting the terrorist out of his cut. He didn't listen to, you know, just let things be. He's safe in the US while friend is in Afghanistan or I can't remember this. I think Afghanistan. And he's at risk. He doesn't even care. There's no remorse. Like, man, I know I did you wrong. It's just, I'm sorry. Like, they don't even say what they're sorry for. And you'll see that with your narcissist often too. It's like, I'm sorry, can't we just drop it? I said, I'm sorry. You're the one that keeps carrying this on. But so he punches Ephraim and the door opens. And there's the FBI. That's when they get arrested. And at the end, talking about karma, you know, Ephraim's, you know, he got 4 years in prison. He's still going to have a crappy life. You know, he's probably still going to be indulging in prostitutes or, you know, one night stands, not developing a true relationship with anybody, a true connection. His life's going to end up being lonely. It'll be bebopping between people, using whoever. And the friend, granted, he had some bad karma. He did some things wrong. He had some leniency, but at the end, which guy was it? One of the guys, was it I think it was a terrorist guy. I think it was a terrorist guy. His name wasn't brought into the court case. And in the end, he said, I wanted to give you my cut. I wanted to give you my money from this. And the friend ended up with a ton of money. They didn't say how much, but it's probably millions. So he ended up still coming out on top, still being able to have his family, did have to pay somewhat of a price, and he pulled himself out of it. So because he pulled himself out of it, he did get some rewards. He did get his family back. He did get, it was a bonus surprise, but he got millions of dollars because somebody saw the good in him. Like, you know, you had my back. There was no reason to pull me into this. And, you know, should he or shouldn't he have done that? I don't know. You know, sometimes There was a saying in the movie too, that Ephraim said is, it was something about lying, how something like it never helps if you don't lie, or you can't get what you want if you don't lie. I can't remember the exact words, but it's such a manipulation tool. Like, of course we're going to lie, otherwise we're not going to get what we wanted. And look at the movie yourself. As you see, like if they had been on the up and up, they wouldn't have gotten what they wanted. And that's what the narcissist thinks in your life. Like, this is the end goal. This is what I want. I'll lie to get it. And that's why they lie so much. Just like Ephraim, just, I'm just looking at what I want. I want that money. I need your help to do it. I'll say whatever it takes. I'll take, hide things, take you into dangerous situations that you don't know where we're going. You're trusting me. It was just a really interesting movie where I just felt, it's kind of like my Memorial Day relaxation movie. And I'm like, my neighbor was watching. I was going to watch for like 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, that man reeks of narcissism. Entitled, he was kind of gangster, well dressed, like mafia well dressed, and entitled, grandiose, came from a bad background. You can kind of feel that from the story, because he was a troublemaker, and just honed in on who he could meet back up with and use. The flying monkeys that were in, you'll see the flying monkeys, the people that they had used throughout this, and just it wasn't full on rages. It was like everything was just infuriated him, and you don't really see that with a friend. The friend is going through the same situation but reacting differently and trying to do what's somewhat morally right. Sometimes we do, break certain laws. Let's say, we're going 5 miles over the speed limit, but we're not going crazy over the speed limit. Sometimes too, sometimes people steal, and sometimes, the way that people take accountability is kind of interesting. Should you steal? No. Some people do, and they'll try to justify it. Sometimes they're in dire straits, if nobody's helping you, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to tell you what you shouldn't do, but legally you shouldn't do it. But if somebody's doing it because they're going to starve to death, not because they have a craving for Doritos or some ice cream, but like they didn't have anything. So maybe they took something, and they'll say, but I was just really like, I had nobody, I had no food. I asked my neighbors, nobody likes me. Our church wouldn't help, or I don't belong to one, or just whatever, to where they needed food. And, that kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense. Should you do it? I'm not going to judge either way. But that makes sense, at least makes sense. But what irritates me is when people steal, and they do it sometimes for a kick, but when they justify it as, that store makes so much money, I won't steal from a mom and pop shop, but those corporations make so much money. Well, I mean, that doesn't mean that it's yours for the taking because you're ticked off that they make so much money. The entitlement that some people have, not the desperation, but the entitlement. It's just a mind thing that I find interesting, how some people, how they justify things. Narcissists justify things to suit their needs, to avoid guilt. Like the person who does it out of desperation, they probably do feel guilt. That's usually not an entitlement thing. But the people who steal just cause, what's it going to hurt the company? The company's so big. It still doesn't make it right. And they still don't have remorse. Like, it blows my mind on people, but that's how society is changing. Society is changing. And I'll be 52 next month. If you guys are a little bit older, even you awesome youngins, comment below on the experiences that you've had over the years. Let's get some old wisdom going on. Things seem like it is a worse trend, that narcissism is snowballing. I'm a teacher at public schools. I've done inner city youth. I've done severely emotionally disturbed. And the kids that are, what do we have, 60 or 80% homeless? That's like 60 to 80% homeless. And that can mean bebopping between houses or hotels, not really having a place to stay, nothing concrete. We were free lunch for everybody, you know, and you see a lot more acting out. I've also worked in, you know, other schools that aren't quite as urban, but narcissism seems to be on the rise, and it's overtaking our society. So I'll take that for some other videos, but please, topic requests. Let me know if you watched the movie, what you felt about Ephraim. It just reeked narcissism to me. So it's kind of like an eagle's eye view of what really goes on inside the narcissist mind, and you'll see it. Sometimes we don't always see it in movies. You know, we kind of laugh it off because it's like, oh, that was silly, but we see the damage that is done. We see who comes out in the end. We see the destruction. You know, they're doing good when they meet back up at that funeral, and just all the destruction in a year and a half or whatever it was. So I thought it was interesting. Hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend, and please like and subscribe. I will see you soon. Have a great day.